that is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode number 91 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. And what a weekend of wrestling it's been. My name is Adam and I'm joined again by Sam.
The captain of our team.
There's always something.
Yeah.
By John.
I think I'm the cheerleader.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And by Brett, what are you?
Water boy.
Sounds about right to me.
Hello.
Last week we had the pleasure of talking about AEW versus NXT, the so-called Wednesday Night Wars. So go check that out if you didn't give it a listen. This week we're talking about primarily Survivor Series, but we're going to touch upon a very busy weekend of wrestling, and we're going to get straight to it after this break.
Ripley driving Banks' lower back into the hardest part of the ring.
I wouldn't put anything past these women from NXT.
We are here to talk about WWE Survivor Series 2019. Survivor Series, of course. Actually, before I get on to this Survivor Series stuff, has everybody watched War Games?
Yes.
Yes.
Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought there was going to be a bombshell. I'm not really into War Games. It's quite a dull,
I was all over it.
dull idea. General thoughts, John, in a couple of sentences. What do you reckon?
Brilliant. Especially the War Games matches. Actually, the other matches were okay. But the two War Game matches were brilliant.
Yeah. Brett, you concur?
I concur, but I know I'm in my own in saying this, but I really enjoyed Finn Balor, Matt Riddle as
I
well.
liked it. I liked it.
Did hate it.
I loved the fact that it was like a match early doors, and then it built and seeing Finn Balor do something different.
Yeah.
Have a different match. I think that's why I was so into it, because Finn Balor's had a very set match, bit of the Randy Ortons in him in the main roster.
Oh, that's harsh.
I think that's kind of fair, actually. But yeah. Sam, what did you think?
Yeah, decent. Best War Games pay-per-view they've done so far.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a shout.
I loved the women's one. I think the women's one was better than the men's one.
Can we talk about the ending of the men's one, though? I mean, talk about iconic moments. That air raid from the top, just look,
What a spot.
amazing. And for it to be the so good.
And for them to do it to somebody who is then having a match at Survivor Series the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, well, both of them were. It's just madness.
When we were watching that, like, we were looking at it, it was just like, how much must Adam Cole trust Tommaso Ciampa?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could imagine being climbed up anywhere 20 foot in the air and being like, okay, now you're going to pick me up and kind of dangle me upside down.
What about one of
You'd
us?
let me
And then
do
we're
it.
just going to jump.
Yeah, what about us?
Oh, well, I trust Adam to do it.
Trust Adam.
Oh my God, I can't believe this.
Harsh.
That's a kind of a size thing. I don't think you've got it in me. I don't think...
I definitely don't have it in you, Sam.
We had enough
here
of
we
this
go.
last week.
Yeah.
That's it all up. I can't get it off my head.
Last week was the sexy pod, Sam, for God's sake.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I should say that traditionally in Hardest Part of the Ring, we always used to get together for the Big Four pay-per-views for the first year or so, maybe even the first 2 years of the pod. We'd all book the day off and we'd all get to each other's house. Well, we'd arrange where we'd go and we'd order takeaways and we'd sit around and hold hands. And now... We couldn't even bring ourselves to do it. Everybody was too busy
Where did
with
it all
work.
go wrong, Adam?
Is it my fault?
No, that wasn't meant to sound accusatory.
Okay.
That was
It did sound accusatory.
no. That was a genuine question. Where did it all go wrong?
I think when there were whispers of us performing at the London Podcast Festival, we realised that these relationships are too important now to jeopardise by meeting up face to face. We just have to keep it over Skype. But no, we have made plans to meet for Royal Rumble next year, so that'll be nice. And we do see each other at Riptide shows, so don't worry, listeners, we are all mates, as well as professional broadcasters.
And apparently sexy friends, right?
Yes, very sexy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Survivor Series, it one of the Big Four, as we just referenced. I've got a couple of facts for you. The first ever Survivor Series was held in 1987, with the main event consisting of Andre the Giant, One Man Gang, King Kong Bundy, and Butch Reed and Rick Rude versus Hulk Hogan, Paul Orndorff, Don Muraco, Ken Patera, and Bam Bam Bigelow.
God, that's a killer main event.
How many of those people are still alive?
Hulk
I want to say
Hogan,
maybe 2.
yeah, not many at all. Undertaker has the most Survivor Series wins with 13. Bret Hart and Randy Orton share the record for the most consecutive appearances, 11. And only one edition of Survivor Series has ever taken place outside of the USA. It wasn't really that eventful. It was in Montreal. I don't know.
No,
Anything
doesn't
happen?
count. That's basically USA.
Yeah.
I think that was, some big things happened there, but maybe one day we'll do a rewind of it. This time, of course, for the first time ever, it wasn't just Raw versus SmackDown. NXT were added to the mix, and I think we can all agree that bloody made it so bloody good.
Oh, was that the screw job? The Montreal?
Yes.
Yeah,
I just got it. I'm sorry. I've had a long day at work.
Yeah.
It took me a while as well.
I
Adam mentioned.
couldn't remember it being a Survivor Series, so I was just like,
It's easy for me to say, just because I googled it, Survivor Series facts, and then that picture came up. So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'll play that down."
That was great, Adam.
Good, thanks, mate. God, what is going on? You'd let me dangle you over a building. You're saying my research is great.
Yeah.
I'm building you up to knock you down.
yeah,
Something suspicious going on here.
there's a
Yeah,
big
it's
ask or
suspicious.
something.
Yeah, Sam can't edit tonight. That's what it is. He's going to get me to do all his work.
Adam very kindly sent me Survivor Series after realising the plight of I wasn't going to be able to watch it today.
Oh yeah, true.
And yeah, I'm now in his debt.
Okay, I've got to remember every Tuesday before we record to send you something nice. That sounds weird as well. So, yes, Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, a whole new dynamic. Absolutely brilliant, I think. I think we're all going to agree with that idea because we all love NXT.
Yeah.
Yep.
Before we start, though, I would just like to play a little clip from last week's pod. I don't see NXT being dropped down to where it was. I think NXT is kind of on a level now.
No, they're losing every match at Survivor Series. Oh, motherfucker.
Oh dear.
John.
God damn it.
He kept the receipt on that one.
God damn it.
But to be fair,
Yeah?
we are not a podcast for substantiated opinions or facts.
No, very true. It's just as NXT started racking up those wins, I couldn't help but think of John saying they weren't going to win anything.
Oh, come on. Who expected NXT to win?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't.
I was with you.
It makes
John.
sense. It makes sense, kind of, but we'll get to that at the end, I'm sure. Anyway, yes, good. A little bit of John ribbing. Nice. Sam, you want to compliment me on doing that?
Man, that was a really nicely displayed, delivered ribbing of John. You got him. You
Thanks.
got him good, sir.
Thanks, dude. Oh, God, I'm so hyped for this pod now. So, Survivor Series, where was it held? It was held at the Allstate Arena in Chicago with an attendance around 13,000. Commentary team, you name them, they commentated.
Apart from Mauro Ranallo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
of course.
yeah.
What was the beef? I heard there was some beef between Ranallo and Graves. You know about this, Brett, our social media correspondent?
I did not totally. I know Graves gave some criticism on Twitter of Ronaldo, which did not go down well because obviously Ronaldo then went off Twitter. Deleted it, I think. I think he got a load of abuse or something after as well. Because
Can we just say that Graves criticises Ronaldo. Ronaldo continues to be the best commentator in the world.
Yeah.
So
exactly, but yeah, didn't take it well. So apparently, that's why Ronaldo wasn't there and nothing to do with blowing out his voice.
Oh, okay, interesting. Oh, okay,
Hot
well, I might
goss.
look more into that, but yeah, sounds nasty. So the Allstate Arena, what do you think? I mean, pyro and lasers are back in a big way, aren't they?
Oh, the lasers.
Yeah.
Oh, was that War Games? War Games had the lasers. Really
Yeah.
cool lasers.
They had lasers here as well, though, at the start.
did
And lots
they?
of pyro for entrances. Yeah.
Yeah, that was totally damn it, AEW are doing pyro. We've got to bring pyro back.
Yeah. They had the clunky AR as well. Augmented reality stuff. Some of that looked a bit dodgy, but it's still quite a cool effect.
Oh, I didn't notice any of that.
Really? You didn't notice the massive skull hovering in midair?
Doesn't ring any bells, no.
Okay.
Did you just not see that stuff, or did you think that was the most amazing sets
I'm really
WWE
unsure
have
if you're
done in
being
ages?
sarcastic.
I'm starting to wonder whether I watched the right pay-per-view.
Oh dear.
Great
Anyway,
American Bash, right? Is that what we watched?
no, we have an awful lot to talk about, so let's move on. The card, that's going to take us about 20 minutes to read out.
Yeah, it's so long, the card.
It is.
Well, it's not
Everyone.
long, it's just there's a lot of people on it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll tell you
a lot
what,
of people.
I'll read out the pre-show, and then Brett, I'll let you read out the main card, because you're going
Oh.
to talk about the pre-show anyway. The
Dear
pre-show is, had 3 matches on it, some big matches as well. We had a inter-brand tag team battle royale. Too many teams to name there, but Rude and Ziggler won that. We had the NXT Cruiserweight Championship match between Lio Rush, Akira Tozawa and Kalisto, and Lio Rush retained. And then we had, and I really expected this to be on the main card. I haven't gone back and watched it, but I kind of wanted to. Viking Raiders versus The New Day versus Undisputed Era.
That was the match I was most excited about with the Survivor Series card before it got moved to the pre-show.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? That's what you said last week.
Yeah, personally, I think it suffered from being pre-show. None of these, like the first was a total mess. It was just like way too many people, and it was just like whatever's going on. The Cruiserweight one, considering how awesome some of the Cruiserweight matches have been recently, this was more just a quick showcase one.
Yeah.
So that wasn't really much. And yeah, I was a little let down by Viking Raiders, New Day and Undisputed Era. I thought with Undisputed and seeing, because I watched this after watching the main show, and I thought, like, you know, they're really going to have a great match, but it, again, didn't really set me alight.
They must have been knackered though, Undisputed Era. They put themselves through it at War Games, and
Yeah, God, they really did.
Yeah, but you know, what about Roddy? We'll talk about him later.
well, yeah, God, good lord. But I mean, Roddy is a different. He's not even human, is he? He's like
No.
bionic or something.
I think it's safe to say that everyone from NXT put in a fucking shift this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
they
most
really
of them
did.
were on SmackDown as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a busy few days.
When they weren't doing that, they were having ladder matches for advantage in war games.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, fucking
Adam
hell.
Cole needs a week off. Like, if
Yeah.
he doesn't
know
need to
what?
be on the show on Wednesday.
No.
So I am a little bit off tangent here. I am 100% convinced that WWE have replaced the ladders in NXT with plastic ladders, because some of the bumps they have been taking on those ladders have been so brutal. There's just no way I can see it. Like the one that Mia Yim took, for example.
Yeah,
To be fair, she wasn't actually in the War Games match, so maybe it was a bad.
Yeah, that was-
yeah,
But
it was quite bad.
some of the falls they have been taking, like again with Dijakovic at the end of the ladder match from last week, it's just like, I don't know. I'm suspicious. I think they're gimmicked plastic ladders.
Okay, well, we'll save that conspiracy for your spin-off pod.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Conspiracies with Sam.
yeah, Sam's a special guest on InfoWars.
Wrestling conspiracies. That would be great. We mentioned Katie Vick last week, but would she be first guest?
Let me tell you guys about Fake Kane.
Not now. The main card, Brett. First of all, Brett, thank you for watching the pre-show as always. Can you tell us what was on the main card?
Okay.
For anybody that hasn't watched it.
So, all of this, yeah? All right. So,
I mean, just fly through it.
fly through it. Okay. we
accurately.
started with the women's 5-on-5-on-5 Survivor Series match, which had Raw featuring Charlotte, Natalya, Asuka, Kairi Sane and Sarah Logan. SmackDown featured Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans and Nikki Cross. NXT featured Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae, Io Shirai and Toni Storm. Then we had a triple threat match of some sort. I wasn't for anything, with AJ Styles versus Nakamura versus Roderick Strong.
All the mid-level titles
Yes.
facing each other, basically.
Then we had the NXT Championship, which was between Adam Cole and Pete Dunne. Following that, we had The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship, bathed in red again. Then we had the men's 5-on-5-on-5 Survivor Series match, which had Raw featuring Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton and Ricochet. SmackDown featuring Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, Mustafa Ali and Chad Gable, otherwise known as Shorty G.
No.
No.
We do not use that word on this podcast.
Podcast of shorties, except for Adam.
Someone's texted you about being short. Yeah.
I don't even think you're the shortest one, are you, John? Then
Wait, what?
NXT featuring Ciampa, Damian Priest, Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and Walter. Sam's obviously thinking he must be the shortest one after that reaction.
Well, you're not going to mean Adam.
Then we had the WWE Championship with Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic.
Oh, of course.
Then we had the women's champions
Fight.
champions
The
match.
women fought in a fight.
With Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Shayna Baszler.
That was great, but I think you missed one thing. Could you do it all over again?
No.
Okay, so we are going to review the whole event pretty much. I'm sure we'll touch upon pretty much every match, but as usual, we're going to talk about key matches first. So we're going to talk about the Women's Survivor Series match, the Men's Survivor Series match, the WWE Championship match, and then the main event with the 3 female champions. So to kick us off, we've got the Women's Survivor Series match, the first match on the main card. What do we reckon? I mean, let's just have a real quick look at the teams. It was probably announced somewhere. I didn't realise Toni Storm was going to be the 5th member of NXT. I was pretty chuffed with that.
Yeah.
I think they announced it on the pre-show.
Or was that on their Facebook? They did it on
might have been.
Facebook Live, didn't they, with Triple H?
That's right, yeah.
I knew you were a social media correspondent, Brett. Just across everything. That was pretty cool. Sam, do you want to kick us off? What do you think?
Yeah, this was absolutely solid. What a great match for everyone involved, really. It was a shame that kind of Candice and Io got pulled out a little bit early to come back later on.
Yeah, that was weird.
Weird.
It was also weird considering what happened at War Games.
Yeah.
It just felt like suddenly they were repeating something. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. Like, I think kind of, if I had a criticism of this match, it is just the fact that kind of Survivor Series sometimes seems to forget a lot of the kayfabe sort of rivalries going on, which kind of is a little bit strange considering like Candice and Io's kind of backwards forwards. But,
I don't mind that though. I quite like it. It's like,
as I say,
not
like,
canon. It's fun.
It's a very small criticism in what was a very, very good match. Highlights for me were Io and Kairi Sane being in the ring at the same time, and Asuka kind of giving the old green mist to Charlotte.
Well, exactly. That sort of almost goes against what you were saying, although I really appreciate everything you're doing on the pod so far, Sam. I was going to say, I like the fact that there was the infighting between Asuka and Charlotte. Because,
that was really cool.
Yeah,
that then obviously led to them having a match on Raw last night, and that kind of, especially Asuka just leaving when she'd done it, that was ace.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
really building her up at the moment, aren't they, Asuka? She's getting back to her best. I feel like.
Yeah.
Asuka is amazing though. Like, just all her shouting and the energy and pace she brings to matches is just so good.
I think everyone in this match was on absolute fire, though. Like, kind of, it's come to a point now where, like, I was thinking about this during the Triple Threat when they were talking about how old NXT had the 4 horsewomen, and it's like, you couldn't have that now because there are so many good wrestlers in all of these brands that to build it down just to 4 people is, like, just disingenuous to the other wrestlers on the card.
Yeah,
I've got a great fact about this match. Actually, probably not a fact, more an observation. Everyone involved in it, except for Natalia, came from NXT.
Oh, that is cool. That's really cool. Did you just spot that?
No, I read it somewhere else.
Oh, okay. You should have said yes there, John.
I should have done, but I mean,
Giving
I'm
us some more credibility.
disingenuous.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, with Toni Storm being involved, it had that weird, like, fake or just odd feeling of pride because it's somebody who's come from Brit Rest, kind of. But I love the fact that not only was she in the match, but she got eliminated by taking a sharpshooter and a bank statement.
that
How
was
good is that? So good. If you're going to go.
And she lasted quite late on as well, which I thought
she was like
awesome.
final 3 of NXT, wasn't she? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Everyone just really brought their A game.
Yeah. Speaking of NXT, what a few days for Rhea Ripley, hey? 23 years old. They're going in hard.
What a meteoric rise over the last few weeks. And she was so over. She got such a massive reaction from the crowd when she came out.
She's
probably the
amazing.
biggest reaction of anyone, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, the push that she's had over the last few weeks has been absolutely meteoric. It's awesome.
She's deserved it, though. She looks so
Yeah,
good.
it's all down to, I think, like, she's got this like awesome look now with the whole metal vibe. Like character-wise, she's bringing great intensity into whenever she appears, which really helped elevate her, I think. And yeah, so her matches and moments have been great.
She's got such a great presence, hasn't she? Like, it feels like she towers over everyone in the ring. Brilliant.
Do you think Vince just saw her shoulders and was just like, "Yep"? Yeah.
I don't think Vince has anything to do with that. I reckon this is all Triple H.
Yeah, I like the fact that you sort of get the impression now that they were like, right, Rhea, we see a lot in you, and we're going to want to do something with you on main NXT and maybe even main roster at some point. But it's like sending like a young striker out on loan. We're going to send you to NXT UK.
Yeah,
we're going to put the belt on you. You're going to get some more experience. You're going to get to wrestle around the country, wrestle with a load of decent wrestlers. And then come back, and I think that's really cool.
Is she the Lukaku of WWE?
Oh, maybe not. I'm trying to think if any other strikers have gone out on loan and then come back and done really
Tammy
well.
Abraham of NXT.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got. Lukaku and Tammy Abraham.
Harry Kane.
Let's
He
start
went
football,
to.
football
Didn't he go
pod.
like Tranmere or something?
Yeah, I think you had quite a few loan moves actually.
The
only one I could think of was Benikofobi, which is a terrible one.
Great reference, Adam. Great. Everyone's going to get that one.
He went on loan from Arsenal to Reading, who Sam supports, and I don't think it worked out that well. No. Let's get back on track.
Did anyone notice Kairi Sane's amazing look in this match?
Yes.
It was
with the hat.
Wicked, the hat
with
and
a
the sort of
baseball
sort of pink eye makeup under the eyes. She looked sweet as.
I'm quite worried about this because WrestleMania next year is clearly going to be pirate themed, and they've ditched her gimmick.
Can we just quickly step in there? If we're going to talk about WrestleMania next year, we've got to call it WrestleMania.
Oh God. Okay,
We'll leave that
we
to you,
won't talk
Sam.
about that then.
Move on.
Let's move on. Okay, good. That is the women's Survivor Series match. Kind of reviewed. We're going to do the men's one now, which obviously came much later in the show. I mean, I've got to be honest here. I fucking loved this.
Yes.
This was not only the match of the night for me, this is probably, I don't want to say the best Survivor Series match I've ever seen, but
oh, it's up there.
It's definitely in the conversation. Like, I want to see if I still think that in a year's time. Then
it's definitely the best since we've been watching back again. Maybe
I
not
don't
the best
know.
of all time.
I'd say like the men's Survivor Series matches are always really good. I think they're always really fun and crazy and bonkers. I don't think they ever like disappoint. They're always great.
I was totally though like with the crowd early doors, like well behind Walter. And then, like, Walter getting claymored and sent out, I was just like, no.
That was the only downside of this match.
I was like, and I did, the thing is, like, thinking about it afterwards with hindsight, I did really enjoy this match. But when I kept on seeing the people I love just getting eliminated early doors and seeing Baron Corbin and stuff still in there, I was just like, fucking hate this while I was watching it. But I didn't hate it.
You just hate Baron Corbin.
It was just
it's clouding your judgment.
Just the people that were getting eliminated and the ones that were staying in. I was like, oh, come on. Like, don't do Walter like that, don't.
I think they did such a good job with this. Like, kind of, I think it would have been very easy for them to just, like, put NXT over and just make everyone else look shit. And they didn't do that at all.
Yeah.
And it was just great. Like, for example, Drew McIntyre. Like, he is a great wrestler, and he looked really strong in this match.
He did. When he was trading chops with Walter, like his chops looked a lot more brutal than Walter's.
Do you know what? Actually, this is one of the weirdest things I noticed about this match. Is like we've seen Walter in person, and he's a absolute huge unit. Yeah. And then you see him up against Braun Strowman.
Yeah,
and you're like,
all the big
my
guys
God.
in there. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? I mean, I did see that booking was criticised, but I actually thought with Walter, I love the fact that he was looking so strong against Strowman and even against McIntyre to an extent. And I just thought, okay, cool. Well, they've highlighted him. They've given him his moment. The crowd are loving it.
I do though on that front. Like, not that he had to put him over or anything, but I do wish Drew McIntyre would have sold Walter's chops a bit. Because that's his staple. I don't
think Walter could chopped him very well, though. He just didn't get the sound out of it, did he?
I think that's what it...
maybe, but like, I don't know, like, a lot of it, is how you sell something, and it's not always just on sound.
I know.
Like sometimes, like when they don't get it, they say it thuds through. You know, like the commentator can sell that. I would have not, like I'm saying, he didn't have to put him over, but just on those bits, because that is like Walter's staple. Sell it for him a bit.
Fair.
Throw him something there, because I think Drew was too busy trying to look like an absolute boss.
I think just generally the match was incredibly good though. Like I think everyone put themselves across really well.
Yeah. I popped so hard when Riddle pinned Orton. I was like, yes!
That was amazing.
Absolutely
that was so
amazing.
Good.
Me too. His facial expression then. I love the fact that they're playing into this, like that he's going to potentially be a bit of a legend killer. And that's what he wants to do. And to do that, and the fact that he got RKO'd straight away after, and then
but it kind of works, doesn't it? It kind of fits in with it
amazingly.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the time when that Walter thing happened, I was like, yeah, I love this. At no point was I thinking negatively at all. And I've read some other people saying, yeah, the first half of the match was decent, but the second half was amazing. But the first half, we had Ricochet and Gable, their sequence. Then we had Riddle and Gable doing some lovely mat wrestling.
Yeah, I preferred the first half to the second half.
No. The second half with Keith Lee.
I'll say Keith Lee is the man of the match here.
Yeah, I love Keith Lee, but like, I just, there was like great spots with Chad Gable and Matt Riddle, and Ricochet just being Ricochet. There was a lot early doors that was a lot really fun and really slick, and Ciampa
Kevin Owens
being a beast. Kevin Owens, I love Kevin Owens
choosing who to splash or who to pin, and then he went for Gable over Ciampa, and then Ciampa eliminates him. It was so good, like
that
the callbacks to War Games.
That was a brilliant bit of storytelling. That was, I thought
it was so well booked, and I think you're right, John. They always do this. The multi-man matches, they always book so well, and they're all amazing. How do you remember it all? I know that's a stupid thing, but I'm always like, this is incredible.
Smash it. Like I kind of, after Walter was pinned early doors, I was a little bit like, oh, is this going to be like quite a short sort of everyone takes one move and gets pinned? Other than that though, the whole match was excellent. I think the whole way from start to finish, it told such good stories with little nice micro stories within it.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on, I mean, did you think, oh, here we go, it's going to be Rollins and Reigns at the end, and one of those two is just going to come out on top?
I popped hard. I thought Keith Lee was going to win it.
Yeah, when he hit that
spirit bomb.
Yeah, I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought the whole finish of this match was perfect. Like, if Roman Reigns wrestles like that every week...
I know.
Yeah. What was good about it? I didn't hate Reigns for winning it at the end of it. I was like, well done.
Do you know who can fuck off?
Thing.
The crowd.
Oh yeah, the crowd were awful. During the big big triple threats, the 5-on-5s, they were great. But every other match, they were silent.
No. Well, during this, they were booing.
Were they? I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah. Definitely. They were booing. I know the whole Rollins thing is like a slow turn, and he's now turned on Raw last night. But he was getting booed. He was getting booed earlier on in the night when he was doing promos. But anytime when Reigns came out, he got booed. And I know a lot of them are just sarcastic or whatever. But I was like, come on, this is a fucking amazing match. Why are they bothering with that?
Chicago's always a bit hostile to WWE stuff.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I guess so. But Rollins and Reigns, it made sense totally. They're the two biggest stars in the match for them. The
end of this match was just perfect. Like the whole kind of the Shield references and Keith Lee kind of coming into his own. Like Keith Lee is main event material already.
This whole Invasion thing has done an amazing job of making stars of Rhea Ripley, Adam Cole, and Keith Lee. Like they feel like the best in the world at the moment. Those three.
And it's really good because it just seemed like. Keith Lee wasn't really, like, he was getting forgotten for a bit in NXT. Yeah. Like, he'd signed and he was being forgotten, and I was, like, totally gutted because we know how awesome he is. And, like, a guy, a unit like him being able to do what he can is just, like, it's such a shame because the crowd were always behind him as well, even though, like, he wasn't really getting anything. So to see him finally getting a real good push and getting those moments, like being in the last three, I was really, really pleased.
Do you know what as well? Like, I think my favourite part is we've seen Keith Lee in the ring killing it, and we all know that he is an absolute machine on the mic and with promos as well. And we haven't even scratched the surface with that yet with him. So I am
The charisma.
incredibly excited.
Charisma for days.
Great seeing him soak up the bask in his glory chants at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually love the fact that the crowd they knew his chants. I was amazed that early on when the crowd started doing the Walter chant.
Yeah,
I just
was
assumed
too.
people wouldn't know him in a way.
I always think this is such a mental thing though, because like I think people who are watching WWE, like main roster WWE, people who are buying tickets, are the same people who are subscribing to the network, who are the same people who are watching NXT.
You say that, but like Adam Cole versus Pete Dunne was like silent for so long, and it was only because they put on an absolute barnstormer that the crowd started to.
But I think
get
that's to do with
into
the
it.
way. I think that's the way that WWE mic up their arenas, though, because you don't get that at Full Sail, and I think they're the same fans.
What's
I don't
weird
know,
with Walter,
because-
though? I mean, he hasn't even been on main NXT that often.
No, exactly. He was
Wrestling
at
fans are
TakeOver.
smart now. They know who everyone is.
Yeah, especially, I mean, Chicago crowd, you would expect to know their stuff. It's quite a big
Yeah, for
wrestling
sure.
town.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point, actually. Okay, anyway. I mean, this is a match of the year contender for me. Just the whole way through, I was like, this is great. I love this. And it kept on getting better and better. So
I know. I kind of want to watch it again after this pod.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, I'm going to watch this again. We had the heel stuff from Corbin, which was great. And then Roman Reigns' Superman punch and the spear to Corbin. I mean, you must have loved that bit, Brett.
Brett, have you come around on Corbin at all?
We asked you this so much.
I know, but I feel like he's...
I think he's a great heel. I do think he's a great heel, but I do not love him.
I'm going as far as to say I think he's probably one of the best call-ups from NXT they've ever done.
Whoa, bloody hell, Sam.
Do me a favour.
No, like,
Sam, we need to move on in a minute. Hear me out as I go through every single call-up from NXT.
here's the thing, right? Is that from call-up all the way to current day, Corbin has been relevant in that mid-card, upper mid-card area for a long time now. He's never been like kind of forgotten about. Like where the fuck was Aleister Black? You know?
Good point.
Like there's loads of people who have come up from NXT and just haven't quite done it. Sami
Yeah,
Zayn
but
is fucking manager for...
That's happened, but those guys have put on great matches in that time.
Apollo
Baron
Crews.
Corbin hasn't, but
No way, Jose.
Baron Corbin can talk on the mic.
Baron Corbin can talk on the mic, but he never used to be able to talk on the mic, and his in-ring skills are not... they're not the most exciting, but they're not bad either.
No. Anyway, I'm going to draw a line under that, I think, just because there's so much to talk about. Are you guys okay? Are you friends?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess.
Didn't feel confident there.
That would have been great for the pod if one of you had been like, fuck no, and then hung up. Or just stop recording. Anyway, next match. Moving on from such a great match. We're going to talk about the WWE Championship match between Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio. And we got to see quite a nice different style of Brock match. Brett, did you like it?
I didn't hate it. It was enjoyable.
Okay.
I didn't love it either, but
Yeah, I think it was a really fun match, actually, for what it was.
and it wasn't long, which was a bonus.
Yeah,
Rey Mysterio needs to stop taking his son to work.
he definitely does. I do. I do hate this Dominic stuff, actually. I hate it when wrestlers get the real life family involved.
Oh, I love it, but come on, he's paid that card like...
Yeah,
he
a lot.
literally paid that card like a few weeks ago with Samoa Joe or whatever. Like,
I
Yeah.
like it.
I'm not a big fan.
bring one of your other kids to work.
Dominic's going to be a wrestler.
Yeah, he's already training. He has been for quite
There
a
you
while.
go. So it makes sense. I mean, it's better than them sort of sneaking him into NXT with a different name or something
I
in the
was
future.
secretly hoping for like a little bit of a ceremonial hand the mask over moment.
The clown mask.
Oh yeah. The moment the clown mask came out, I realised that wasn't going to happen. But
Was it?
maybe another mask.
Was it an homage to Doink in some way? I didn't
don't
quite
know.
get the clown.
It
look.
looked very doinky, didn't it? It didn't look
Must have
jokery.
been.
I wondered if you guys, because I was going to say, like, this is a serious fight. It's a championship match, and it's a serious fight. It's no holds barred. So, what a better way to intimidate your opponent than come out dressed as a clown? And I wondered if you guys were going to go, oh no, it's a reference to this.
Yeah,
No
I
idea.
did think doink, but it's a weird one for sure.
I mean, green, white, and red Mexican colours. Maybe that was the intention, but it looked like a clown.
He did.
Quickly with this match,
Yeah.
I think they did a good job in that when they hit those stereo 619s and the frog splashes, for a minute there, I thought they've got this.
Definitely.
They gave me that hope moment, which before this match, I thought this is going to be a squash. I'm going to be fucking outraged because Rey Mysterio is a legend. But it wasn't that. And it did give me that one hope moment. So good on them.
Agreed.
I don't think Ray ever really stood a chance, to be honest.
No.
In my heart, he did.
Yeah, I believed it too. And it would have kind of worked. It wouldn't have been like, what the fuck? It would have worked, I think. But yeah, like I said, I thought this was a fun match for a Brock match and memorable.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. That was a nice quick review of that one. That's nice. So let's move on to probably a match that won't be as memorable, unfortunately. The main event, Bayley versus Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler, the champions from each of the brands. I mean, when they first came out, I thought it's cool that this match is headlining. It's cool that the women are headlining. It's no big deal, and it's pretty damn cool that Shayna Baszler is headlining her first match on a main roster pay-per-view. But would you say that this match probably should have been much lower down the card, and it might have worked a bit better?
Yeah, I think the position of it didn't help it at all. It was quite slow, wasn't it? It was kind of a bit ploddy.
It had no heat at all.
Yeah, I think the crowd were tired by this point as well, especially after the big matches they had beforehand. Yeah, I felt really ashamed because I was so excited about this because I think the build for this match has been great.
Too. Yeah, Sam, you were pumped for this. This was the match you picked out last week.
Really liked this match. I thought it was excellent. I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it wasn't kind of like speedy or kind of technical. It was hard hitting and it was slow and methodical, but I thought that worked really well with Shayna's style and kind of Bayley's style of recent times.
Yeah, I don't think it was bad, and you're right, it was definitely hard hitting. It felt like they were taking lumps out of each other. It just felt, after the few matches beforehand, it just felt, I don't know, like I said, I don't think it felt like the main event. It felt like the men's or even the women's sort of big Survivor Series match would have been better placed here than this.
Yeah, I agree. Brett, what do you reckon?
Pretty much the same. I thought it was better than average, so it's not like the usual WWE pay-per-view middle of the road stuff. I thought it was better than that. But yeah, it never really got you out of your seat.
Yeah.
It was my least favourite match.
I totally disagree completely.
I thought, I did think it was a good match and I did enjoy watching it, so I don't for a second think any of it was bad, but it just didn't elevate totally.
It was my least favourite match of the night. It was too much, like, what, I don't know, 33 booking? Is that the three-way version of 50-50 booking? It was just, nobody was getting the upper hand. And then it was that classic thing that they do in triple threats quite often, WWE, where somebody gets knocked out and then they're just lying on the floor for ages while they do a bit of one-on-one. There wasn't enough pace, not enough all three of them going at it for me.
I strongly disagree with this. Like, I think kind of like...
That is a fact. That did happen.
But I would say that Bayley kind of started the match strong. Becky Lynch had a good mid-game. Shayna at the end, like, she puts Becky through the table and then makes Bayley tap out. That's a strong finish for your NXT champion to go over the two other champs.
Yeah, it's an amazing moment for her.
I did like the finish, and I liked Becky at the end as well.
I thought it was a good match. Like, yeah, I think kind of maybe it suffered from how long the pay-per-view was. It wasn't the longest pay-per-view.
No.
But kind of obviously the crowd was a little bit dead by that point.
Yeah, the crowd was rubbish.
I thought it was a worthy main event. I enjoyed it a lot.
Mad. Not mad, but, we always have differing opinions, but I'm surprised. Okay, quick thoughts on Bayley's new music?
It's all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
I thought
when she walked out, it looked like she had a face on that looked like she was taking the pin in this.
She was taking the pin the whole day, wasn't she?
I quite like the Cleopatra vibes.
Yeah, that was cool.
Going on.
The hair still jars with me.
It's weird, isn't it?
It definitely did with that Cleopatra, because it was a really sort of tight.
I like that.
Almost Lego, and it's solid.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm not sure about the jacket. That didn't really seem to add anything. It's just some loose white jacket. But anyway, it's time to move on when we are talking about jackets. So those are the key matches, and now we're going to talk about best of the rest. So we're each going to pick out something else we loved, another match we loved, which we will talk about. Who's going to go first? John.
So I'm going to go for Nakamura versus Roderick Strong versus AJ Styles.
Okay, this is an interesting one for me, but go ahead. Why did you like it?
Roderick Strong is, I think, one of the best wrestlers in the world. He is phenomenal, and I thought this match was brilliant despite the fact the crowd were completely silent. They made Roderick look like $1 million in this match. It felt like he was involved in all of it. Like every bit of it was Roderick Strong. There's some incredible bits. Nakamura, I felt like, was just sitting in the corner most of it, just chilling. I just thought they put on such a great show. I loved it.
It was really good. I really enjoyed this, and I love, like, Naka started strong with some really strong kicks and knees, and I thought that was all good. AJ hit his stuff to perfection, although he didn't get to hit his Styles Clash because that kept on getting interrupted.
I mean, it's his fault for inventing the most convoluted finisher ever.
And yeah, Roderick Strong is just, he's a machine, and, like, you know, his backbreakers always look so brutal whichever way he decides to do it.
Yeah, and his knees. And I like the fact that it was the call back to the finish with the Keith Lee Dijakovic match as well.
The finish was excellent.
Yeah. Good match. Loved it.
It's kind of made for you, this match, actually, Brett, because you used to love Nakamura, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then obviously we know that you used to love AJ Styles and still do, and then you love Roderick Strong. So yeah, I would have thought this would be your favourite match of the night.
I feel like Nakamura's get back to his best, actually.
I thought Nakamura was really good in this, and this was my best of the rest as well. I love this match. I thought all of them were good.
Quick shout for the ring gear. I love everybody wearing the right colours.
Yeah.
Each of the matches. There's some interesting
I'm so
things.
grateful it wasn't just like SmackDown t-shirt, Raw t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. God.
Do you guys remember the half Raw, half Shield t-shirt set?
Oh, my days. Yes.
This match was quite weird, though, because obviously Nakamura usually wears red and AJ Styles usually wears blue. So to see them sort of swapped.
I love it. Away kits.
Oh, yeah. Thoughts on the new Intercontinental title belt?
Oh, it's so nice. I love it.
I haven't seen
it. Oh, well, you need to Google it. I didn't hear about it. They announced it or unveiled it the previous week.
It was on SmackDown.
But yeah, Nakamura, as he was walking out, I was like, shit, that's not the belt. Surely it's white.
I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this because I feel like that the Intercontinental belt is the best belt WWE have. Yeah,
I agree with you. I was a bit gutted.
The new one is hot though.
But I think I've got a bit of a conspiracy, which I could save for Sam's spin-off.
Oh, I disagree. Where's the white strap?
Sam's plastic ladders. Let's go.
Are you looking at it? Are you looking at it now, John?
Yeah.
We can hear John sobbing in a minute.
It's just, why not? Wait, it has to have the white straps.
What? The strap can be changed though. Like Intercontinental's not always had a white strap.
In my head, it has.
But the best one has had a white strap.
Yeah, this old belt has been going in WWE since the 80s. I mean, it was replaced a little bit during the Attitude Era, but then it was brought back at Hell in a Cell in 2011 by Cody. So do you think that somebody went, oh, I love this belt. Do you remember when Cody brought it back? What? And then they just were like, right, we've got to get another belt. Do not mention his name around here. Do you think that's why? Or is this absolutely ridiculous?
I think,
no, let's go with that. I like
to be honest, I think it's a bit of both. I think they probably thought they could rejuvenate the title because, you know, the Intercontinental, while it has been great, has been a bit lackluster recently. Yeah. And I think the other conspiracy part was definitely in their mind as well. So they just pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah. Definitely. We'll never know. Or maybe we will know. There'll probably be a network special about it.
I think they're just in the process of updating all their bad belts at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if the US title gets an update in the next few months or so.
Could they please, for the love of God, update their main belt so they're not just a logo?
A logo, and then they just changed the colour. When I saw Bray Wyatt holding a blue belt, I was like, is that like a replica? What's that belt?
Oh, I thought he had just robbed Charlotte or something.
Yeah, that was very weird. Best of the rest, Sam?
Yeah, let's go on to Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan, actually. This is an interesting match, this one. Again, probably not the best match on the card, but like Daniel Bryan knows how to tell a fucking story.
He does.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, you knew this was going to be good because Daniel Bryan was in it.
And all of the callbacks to kind of like when Bryan joined the Wyatt family years and years ago, and the kind of the return of the Yes movement and sort of what that meant for the Fiend and his side of it. I mean, I know, 10-minute match, not the longest or most technically proficient, but it was a good story, I thought, for a 10-minute match. Enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it too. Slight downer on it though. Although there's only been 4 Fiend matches, I've only seen 3 of them. They have all been the same.
Yeah, that's a fair criticism of Bray Wyatt and the Fiend. I think the problem is that they've built up this amazing character, and they don't really have any credible challenges to take him on at the moment. And if only they had some kind of amazing wrestler who had some sort of occult stuff going on. Some sort of NXT former champion.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, they could well be building to that. They can't just do it straight away.
Guys, get on with it.
I mean, the Fiend, obviously his thing is that he's just going to keep getting up. He's like end-level boss, but also something from a horror movie. And it is different. It's really different to anything else that we see on the card. And I think it's fun.
Not only that, the build-up to this match as well, with the Daniel Bryan stuff and the Miz stuff, has been excellent.
Yeah.
It's been really good and interesting. I love seeing Daniel Bryan and the Miz feud with each other.
Yeah. Are you pro or are you for or against the red lighting?
I think I'm kind of coming round to it a little bit, actually.
I kind of think they need to ditch it now.
Yeah, I can't see it like this time next year. Hopefully, they won't still be doing it.
I can't see them ditching it in the immediate, just because it would be kind of quite a step away from where they're at the moment. I think they've committed to it.
I think they can commit to it, and they can just evolve it. So rather than it just suddenly ditching, they can,
slowly dim it down to not red light.
Yeah, come up with some other.
Maybe there's a run in during a match. Somebody runs in and like the foot, but you see them backstage like flicking a switch, and then they come out. And they're like, I'm not putting up with any of this stuff anymore.
So this is something I keep noticing about Bray Wyatt at the moment. Whenever he does a run in a match and he attacks someone, they do that crazy kind of sound effect and the light kind of shining on him. And when they pull the camera out, you can actually see the ring assistant with the light standing by the apron, swinging the light around. It's just like really takes you out of the moment when you've got like this production assistant just.
Yeah,
like, it's my time to shine the torch on the guy who's pretending to be a monster.
I did think the finish of this match, like from Daniel Bryan running at him and getting that mandible claw in, looked really slick. Cause
it did.
Of trying to execute that, it's just like. But they just like smooth as anything.
Yeah, right. Now I'm going to jump at you. What you have to do is try and shove your hand into my mouth while I'm in midair and then push me to the ground.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that Wyatt and Bryan have always had such good ring chemistry, and it was really refreshing to see them in a match that mattered again in the ring after such a long time.
Yeah, it's a shame this should be a feud, shouldn't it? It should be a series of matches.
Yeah, they should definitely continue. I would be infused about seeing more of this and what, Daniel Bryan does character-wise along it as well. Like, they can really mess with someone who seems very sane and normal. And I know he's had his various yes, no, and all that stuff, but I think it could be great.
Yeah, agreed.
Good stuff. Okay. Right, me. Best of the rest. I'm probably going to go for the NXT Championship match.
Yeah.
So you can't get through best of the rest without talking about this.
We've got to. Because, firstly, really cool that it was on Survivor Series, NXT Championship match. I am definitely somebody who really does vibe off a crowd. And if a crowd is shit and is not feeling it, it's kind of all I notice and I can't zone into the match. So I spent the first sort of 5-10 minutes thinking, this is Pete Dunne versus Adam Cole. Pete Dunne's first NXT Championship match. Why? I wish this was on a takeover. Because imagine the crowd, imagine how much better it would be. And so I still think that a little bit, but it did build, and by the end of it, the crowd were absolutely loving it.
I knew they were going to get the crowd on side because I knew they were going to put on a great match. But it was, like you say, though, like that it took a while for them to warm up to it. But
Really
credit to the guys because they got the crowd there.
Yeah. I mean, doing a Canadian Destroyer on the apron will make people stand up and pay attention.
Yeah, that was amazing.
There was a point in this match which really made me paranoid where they were both lying on the apron and the ref was counting them out. and he got to 6, and I was just like, no, what are you doing? You can't count them out. They're on the fucking apron. And I was convinced that we were going to have another pay-per-view with a strange referee finish, and thankfully they got away from that. But I think the ref started counting, and then realised, oh fuck,
I've got to carry on.
Then you can't exactly just stop halfway through.
Yeah. Love the references to the injuries they're carrying from the night before. I think that
really
worked
good.
really well. And the finish was basically one of the greatest things of the night for me.
Yeah.
The fact the reaching for the mouth guard, then the finger snap, and then the countering of the bitter end into the Panama Sunrise looked so good. Good. And then the last shot
executed.
is an amazing finisher.
Do you know what? I was actually convinced that Pete Dunne was going over here. I really thought that was going to happen. I thought kind of Adam Cole and Undisputed Era have had such a strong booking recently and such a strong November, as they kept alluding to, that I thought you got to throw a fly in the ointment somewhere, and I thought that was going to be it.
What I did find interesting, and we talked about, the crowd knowing their wrestling and the response that Walter got. They were pretty silent when Pete Dunne's music hit, compared to the ovation he gets at Full Sail. They were quite quiet.
I don't think Pete Dunne doesn't really have very good music, though, does he?
No,
it's not very memorable.
I don't know. He didn't seem hugely popular, and that's why I sort of thought I really don't see them taking the title off Adam Cole, especially with the whole of the Undisputed Era being draped in gold, as they say. I can't see.
And he's
that
on such a
happening.
run at the moment as well. Like, he's unstoppable.
But I think that was the whole thing. Like, I think kind of he was on such a run that you got to stop it at some point, which is why I thought now was the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, I don't think Pete Dunne is quite ready to hold the main belt yet.
No.
No.
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Just in terms of his establishing himself in NXT, he's only been back there sort of semi full time for the last month or so, and I feel like there are more credible people, the likes of Matt Riddle, obviously Velveteen Dream when he's back, people who sort of earned the right a bit more. It wouldn't be outrageous, but
I mean, he did also lose to Damian Priest a few weeks ago.
There you go. Worst of the rest. Is there anything in particular?
I've got one thing.
What do you think, John? What is it?
Jerry the King Lawler.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
He was unbearable in this pay-per-view.
Was. And do you know who put him in his place?
Nigel McGuinness.
Yes.
But that was
do you know
so
what?
good.
Because I noticed Jerry with a snides thingy at Nigel for being excited, for being giving some enthusiasm into the commentary, and I felt like that was a snipe at both Nigel, but perhaps the NXT Ronaldo vibe that they have.
God, yeah, fuck off, Jerry.
And when he said that, and I was like, what? But what was great was Nigel probably during that match was the most talkative commentator, and he was great. He was absolutely great,
good.
And so good. I love
he
that
totally
kind of,
put Jerry, like you say, in his place.
Yeah, that bit when he was just he'll come out of the ring and slap that crown off your head.
Yeah,
I forgot to mention during the men's Survivor Series match when you could see when Keith Lee was doing his thing, and you could see Nigel McGuinness in the background bouncing, jumping up and down.
Yeah,
so pumped.
That was excellent. The commentary. Do you know who else actually was really good on commentary? This whole thing was Beth Phoenix.
Oh,
she was really good.
Come on. We talked about this last week, and I said that she's doing okay, and John was like, "Oh, I think she's pretty awful." So I sort of zoned in on her a little bit more of what she was getting up to and what she was saying. She had her moments, but she also had quite a few poor moments, I thought.
Oh, I think credit where credit's due. I thought it kind of she is still learning her trade in this, but I thought she did really well on quite a big event.
Okay.
John, thoughts?
I understand what you're saying, and I want to like Beth Phoenix a lot on comms. I just think, I know she's sort of still new, but I feel like she's been doing it for a while now.
She does say hardest part of the ring quite a lot.
Yeah.
So that's handy for us.
And
get the brand out there.
Her jacket for TakeOver, obviously this wasn't Survivor Series, but she had that purple gold shimmery jacket. It looked amazing.
Oh, and we're on to jackets, so we can now move on.
We're back to jackets.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's our code word for working out when we're going to move on.
Nice. That could be like a little safe word. If somebody's blabbering on, they'd be like, yeah, but did you notice their jacket? And then we just go silent and move on to the next thing. Sam or Brett, have you got any worst of the rest to mention? Don't feel we have to.
No. I don't think I'll.
No.
Be worst.
No,
Yeah.
I don't
Not
either.
got any complaints.
I have no notes on that. Nothing specific. But I'm glad we did mention the King. So well done, John, because I agree with that. Star Performer is up next. This is where we each pick out our VIP from the pay-per-view. And Brett, do you want to go first? You've got someone picked?
I don't, but I'll come up with one right now. Well, it's got to be between two people.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Rhea Ripley because she won.
Okay. Fair enough. Sam?
Well, I'm going to go for the other person and say Keith Lee.
Yeah, that was the other.
Just wow. What a performance.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
John?
So I would like to give a shout out to whoever works in WWE finance who has to work out pay-per-view appearance bonuses for everyone. Because I think they've got a long week ahead of them, guys. But it has to be Keith Lee. What a star-making performance!
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Rhea Ripley just to level things up. I just think, considering she's 23 years old, absolutely amazing.
She's bossing it.
Nothing between them, like both Rhea and Keith, just incredible weekends for them.
Yeah,
and to think that we're speaking so highly of somebody called Keith.
I can't stand a Keith normally.
Amazing. If we do have any Keiths listening, Sam is just joking.
Am I?
Except for one.
Yeah, you Keith. Right, overall rank. The last thing we do is give the pay-per-view a score out of 10, work out the average and see how it compares to previous reviews. Who should we go for? Sam, are you going to do something controversial?
Yeah, I am. 9.5. It was excellent.
Fucking hell. John?
9. Going 9.
Oh my God. This could be the highest scoring pay-per-view ever. What are you going to say, Brett?
I'm going to upset people now. I was going to say 8. A solid 8, but 8.
That's fair.
Yeah.
8 is good.
Yeah, more than fair. I am going to go for 8.75.
Thanks,
You
Adam.
guys
What I'm
and
doing
your
here
point
is
whatevers.
I basically, long-term listeners know we love spreadsheets. I'm currently looking at the pay-per-view rating spreadsheet and I'm comparing it to my other marks. That's how I like to do things.
That's fair. Survivor Series 2019, 8.8.
8.8. That is genuinely astonishing. That is now, according to our records, the second best pay-per-view we have watched.
Do you know what? I would stand by that. Every match on this card was excellent.
Yeah, they knocked it out of the fucking park.
For me, this was like the Marvel Civil War of wrestling.
Yes.
It was just perfect. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
what happens when they
so
go
good.
back to not having NXT involved?
Yeah, because
They won't.
They
They
do this
won't.
brand stuff every year, and it doesn't really hit home. Like, I don't really care about Raw and SmackDown, but because NXT were involved, I felt really invested in NXT.
you cared.
Yeah, I
Guys.
did. I was like, come on.
Get used to it. This is what it's like now. I mean, we've got to talk about it. NXT fucking won the whole thing, and the reason they did that is to get people who just watch Raw and SmackDown to watch NXT, because NXT is on a level. It might be just below, but it's not. Next year they're not going to have an NXT on it.
Well,
They're
hold
not
on, because
gonna have them on it.
last year, Raw beat SmackDown in every match. Raw absolutely dominated. SmackDown lost every match, and you look a year on, and that meant nothing here.
But what I mean is, like, NXT are the third brand now. It's not developmental.
Oh, I'm still not convinced.
I hope I'm right.
But do you know what? This is something that isn't going to be revealed this week or next week. It's just going to be something where, in a month's time or 2 months' time, is NXT still kind of being given the same level of, I suppose, treatment and respect as the main brand?
Yes, because it's on USA Network on Wednesday nights.
Time will
If
tell.
they get cancelled, then no. But I don't see that happening. But yeah, just to go back to the scores. I mean, we reviewed a load of pay-per-views on this podcast before we started doing the scoring. We've done 34 or 33 since then. Our top one ever, NXT TakeOver New York, from this year, 9.875.
God, who did not give that 10? Does anyone
Me.
remember? Oh, you.
Adam refuses to give out 10.
I gave it 9.5.
I remember that. I can't give it 10. I can't.
Survivor Series, obviously, an 8.8. And then after that, it's AEW Double or Nothing with an 8.7. And then we've got Royal Rumble from this year, Wrestle Kingdom, All In, all just below that. So, wow.
I mean, I stand by it. I think this year's Survivor Series is probably the best pay-per-view WWE have done this year.
Easily, yeah,
of
definitely.
main roster stuff.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, like we say, WWE pay-per-views are usually middle-of-the-road fodder. They're not bad, but they're not exciting. This was, you know, by far above their usual standard. All because of NXT.
Yeah.
Survivor Series is meant to be one of the big four pay-per-views, and this kind of felt like it was big four. And that was excellent, because previously Survivor Series has always felt like the redheaded stepchild of pay-per-views. So,
yeah. Cool.
Good.
So,
solid.
We've talked about a big four, and now this big four needs to have a little break. And then we're going to come back with hardest question of the week. Is that a good nickname for us?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, good. Here we go.
Question of the week.
So the hardest question of the week I put out on Twitter was a hard one. What was your favourite match from the weekend and why? John, did we get any answers?
We got loads. So Carl Luckhurst, he says, that is hard. Possibly Cole versus Dunn just for the counter to the bitter end. I enjoyed the female War Games match too, just for some of the spots and the shock of Dakota's turn on Tegan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was an amazing
so
heel
brutal.
turn.
That was an amazing heel turn, wasn't it? That was...
It was.
Tegan Knox. I thought we were finally going to get to watch her in a main... Nope.
He also
keep waiting.
He also says the finish on SmackDown in Baszler Banks Flair was genius too. I didn't see SmackDown. What was the finish? Did anyone else watch it?
No, we're not seeing it.
Baszler Banks Flair. Wasn't that Ripley Banks Flair?
I didn't watch it.
No.
I think it was Rhea Ripley, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte Flair. And it was Flair had, I don't know, someone was in a figure four leg lock, and basically Ripley kind of rolled in underneath and did a crucifix pin.
Oh, nice.
It was good.
Nice.
Okay, we also got Hurricane Farmer. That's a great name. Dunn
Hurricane
versus
Farmer.
Hurricane
Like
Farmer.
Hurricane Rana.
Oh, Hurricane. Oh, nice. Okay. I hope he is a farmer as well.
Oh, I hope Hurricane Farmer is.
Anyway, Dunn versus Cole for me. Massive Dunn fan, and I love how they got a relatively disinterested crowd engaged and on their feet.
Did you almost say disinterested cow?
Yeah,
From thinking
I was
about
still
Hurricane
thinking
and
about
farming?
He's on the farm.
I mean, they did a good job in that because the crowd were awful to begin with, but they definitely got into it.
Yeah.
Okay, Jamie Holt, 87. It's between the two War Game matches, but I think the women's one takes it. The level of talent they had in those rings was immense.
I love the finish of that match. The whole handcuff spot was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we need to do a takeover one. That was so good, those War Game matches.
Yeah.
And I don't even like War Games matches normally.
I was trying to explain it to my wife, and I was like, well, you see, the match hasn't really started yet. I know they've been fighting for 20 minutes, but this is just pre-game.
War Games is such a mess of a match.
Also, the loser weight said both War Games because they were ridiculous. Cole versus Dunn because it was brilliant. Men's elimination because of Keith Lee.
Nice.
Fair.
Oh, Wrestle Plug podcast. Good to hear from them.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the men's Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT Survivor Series match. Keith Lee has been huge business for years now, but WWE did an amazing thing having him go the distance with the marquee big dog, and the fist bump afterwards was thrilling. Such an awesome moment from a much maligned WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a perfect review of how I feel about this.
Kind
Yeah.
of surprising, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. Very quickly, let's just say in like one sentence, what was your match of the weekend? Because then we get to include some NXT stuff. I'll go first. I was convinced the women's War Games was going to be my favourite match because I loved it. I loved the whole thing. I thought everyone was brilliant. I love all those wrestlers. Io Shirai. Oh my God, I love her.
She's so good at the moment.
This is my sentence. Thank you.
Who goes next, Mr. Host?
I was just being a dick. But actually, it is going to be the men's Survivor Series for all the reasons we said earlier. Sam, you can go next.
Men's Survivor Series match was the best match of the weekend for me. Loved all of it, though. Great weekend.
Good. John?
Yeah, same. Like the end sequence of that match was the most thrilling wrestling match I've seen in a long time. It was phenomenal.
Yes. And Brett, what do you reckon?
I was thinking
Cruiserweight match?
The men's war game for me.
10-man tag team.
Men's War Game. Okay.
Yeah.
Shout for that.
Solid. I love the finish of that match as well.
Yeah.
All the Undisputed Era going through all the different tables
also
and stuff.
fucking Kevin Owens turning up.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Huge pop.
I was so, and like for me, just please tell me like Kevin Owens is going to move to NXT, but no, he's sticking
such
on
a
Raw.
perfect,
Still,
such a perfect choice, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was
honestly,
amazing.
Because the whole way through, you were like, please don't be Johnny. Please don't be
and
Johnny.
he came in, did a sequence of moves, and practically killed someone from the get go. He did like some pump handle, Ushi-Goroshi type move. I don't know what it was, but it just looked like he killed someone. He was like, I can do indie moves here.
Good.
Boom, you're dead.
He was teasing the package pile driver.
Yeah,
the
he
rings.
was on the metal. Yeah.
Ooh,
I was so
that'd be
hopeful
nasty.
for that.
I like the fact they have the little metal bit now instead of the
Yeah.
little gap they used to have. Yeah.
Thankfully, they didn't go with the package pile driver. Instead, they just tried to kill him with a Panama Sunrise on there.
Yeah, very true. Okay, good. Loads of great matches. For anybody who hasn't seen any of it, you don't need to now because you've had a comprehensive review from us. But yeah, do go back and check out those key matches. That's it. Let's have one final sting and then let's do all the end stuff that everybody loves.
Back first to the apron goes Andrade Cien Almas.
Next podcast, we are going to have a week off next week. Sam, you're away in Leeds for work, right?
Yeah.
Hooray.
Yeah.
If we've got any listeners in Leeds called Keith, then they're not going to be listening for much longer. We'll be in trouble.
Please don't hurt me. I'm small and vulnerable. I'm smaller than John, apparently.
Oh dear.
At Royal Rumble, we're going to have to measure each other. Do like a full
I have a measuring tape.
workup. Like, not only height, but like thighs, bicep, all of it.
Dicks.
Taint. The CEO's got the biggest taint.
Way to taint a podcast. So yeah, please do
Let us
listen.
know about your taint. And
Let's get in touch. But Brett, if people want to get in touch about their taint, how do they do that?
Keep the emails clean and send them to hardestpartofthering@gmail.com. And also keep your social media interactions clean. So we are on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. We are at Hardest Part Pod. And you can check out our shop, which is hardestpartofthering.bigcartel.com.
Wonderful. So yeah, no podcast next week, but the week after that, we have the much anticipated return of the Hardest Part of the Ring quiz.
Ooh, 2 weeks to swat up.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So the last one we did was on a stage at the London Podcast Festival, and this is like our come home show. We're gonna put out something special. It's the end of year one. There'll be some Christmas themed stuff. I'm putting it together. I've already done the audio round, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So you've got that to look forward to. That's when we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. But until then, thanks for listening. Goodbye to everybody. Goodbye from me, Adam. Goodbye, Sam.
See you later, man.
Goodbye, John.
Goodbye.
And goodbye, Brett.
Bye.
That was the Hardest Part of the Ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring.